What we just talked about is how we're using digital assets in a model portfolio. There's some really good stuff to it, but there's also a bunch of risks. And so, Eric, when we start speaking about the very unique risks that are in digital assets, they do not exist at all in the traditional asset management world. So you read every day, there are hacks, they still happen. It's 2025, they still happen. The one thing I love about putting assets on chain, even real world assets, is the ability to use smart contracts because then we have programmable money, programmable assets. It opens up a whole new world. It's awesome. But there's smart contract bugs. I mean, these things just happen. So, Eric, when you think about those things, how do you think about what the industry can do to protect investors? Maybe there's things investors can do to help themselves.
So when I look back at my career and investing, I started investing in 99. I opened up a job account in 1999, right? So, but you don't like question when you open up that account, where's my money? I want the FDIC insurance, so on and so forth. In 2017, I opened up a Gemini account and I was like, wait, they want my social security number? Wait, well, I'm not giving them my social security number, but you have to, right? Because that's where you're going to buy your digital assets. What I think investors still to this day in 2025 are asking, what's the custodial protections that I have at Coinbase, at Gemini, at Kraken, and not fully grasping that, right? Most traditional financial advisors don't question where their assets are custodied. Now you gotta, right? And you gotta think about that. And in particularly when FTX imploded, it caused a lot of fear in the marketplace. And I think it set us back at least 5 to 10 years of just traditional people understanding this marketplace and being wanting to be part of it, right? Which I think we moved it. IBIT crushed it. I mean, absolutely crushed it and has made it much more easy for TradFi people to buy into it. And you don't question where BlackRock custodies this. You don't, right? Because it's BlackRock. It's the largest asset manager in the world. You don't mess with them, right? And, and you just trust them for who they are. And I think that's the differences. And, what can we do as an industry? We can push IBIT. We could push my product, which is a tenth of that. But I think at the end of the day, we need to be able to trust the custodians that actually house the crypto, right? And no keys, no protections, right? Like those are the sort of the concepts that people need to fully grasp. And I think we are, right? And if you think about this, the first index-based mutual fund was born in 1975, 50 years ago. That was like the first new asset class that we've had access to until crypto. So it's new. I mean, those are just some of the things that you've got to take into account. Like it's going to be generational. The way my father, he doesn't even know how to spell ETFs. That's just the way it works. And I think that's what's the next steps we're going at.
For people who haven't opened up a self-custodied wallet and tried to trade, whether your actual trading is on a centralized exchange or a decentralized exchange, like you said, there's a lot of things to consider, like where's the custodian, what's the terms of use of this protocol that I'm using. By the way, most people, when you use the internet and you go to buy things on Amazon, no one reads that terms of use thing. They make you click the button that you did, but nobody actually reads it. Here, you'd actually really want to read it. You'd want to know what's going on. I will even tell you that the first terms of use, Coinbase custody, if you read it, I'm a lawyer. If you read it as a lawyer, it actually read that those assets basically got commingled and they were part of Coinbase, and Coinbase basically owned the assets. You did not. That's been fixed now. But these are the things that you have to be reading, and which, like you said, in the traditional finance world, or even digital assets that are held by a BlackRock or Invesco, that's been taken care of. Professionals have already done that reading. You don't have to read it. But if you happen to be out on your own, read the terms of use. So, Kelly, beyond these technical hurdles and things we should be watching out for, what are some of the other structural impediments that you see that prevents, whether it's individual investors or institutional investors from coming into this market, and maybe what can we do to help that?
I think there's definitely still a lot of risk involved with digital asset, right? I think access, operational counterparty, those are being addressed with credible issuers coming to the market. I'm actually more interested in the investment risk because obviously Bitcoin people still consider it as high volatility, although it's probably the lowest among other type of digital asset. The biggest risk currently is, as I mentioned, a lot of crypto, other digital asset other than Bitcoin is really a bet on emerging technology. Right? But unlike equities, where you have a legal entity and the company is supposed to pass on revenues to the shareholders, in digital asset land, currently there is still no clear regulation on protocols that are actually generating revenue to pass on their revenue to token holders. And then Probably some of you have heard of Clarity Act, which is really an effort in this new administration trying to actually give issuers a credible way of passing on the revenue to token holders through the definition of whether it's a commodity or a security. I think the whole industry is getting mature, right? And in the maturation process, the access issue and operational issue will first be addressed, but the investment risk is still being evaluated. It's a double-edged sword because on one hand, if you are not sure how to access or how to evaluate the risk, that means the risk has a premium attached to it. But eventually, with regulation coming in, with technology maturing, I view it more probably going to be very similar to the equity business.